Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to Step Back Tonight for today, November 2nd, 2021. I'm your host, Tristan. How's everybody doing tonight? Yeah. My name's Trishead. I run the YouTube channel Step Back, and I am the co-host of a wonderful podcast by the name of It's Probably Not Aliens. A new episode came out earlier today, which you should check out, on the Sakara bird. Very fun. I stream on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays from noon till 2, and Tuesdays from 7 till 9, which is what you're watching right now. On Mondays, I do the Money Discourse with Mia Mulder. On Tuesdays, I do Step Back Tonight. Hello, Tristan. How was your Halloween weekend? It was fine. I had very little to do with Halloween, though. No Halloween party. We tried to hand out candy to kids, but barely any kids came. So, I just wore my Plague Doctor costume and hung out on the front patio for a few hours. That's about all that happened, though. Yeah. So, but I did, I saw friends, played D&D, went out to the farmer's market, all the usual things. Yeah, go by he, him pronouns. If you want to support my work, you can go to patreon.com/stepbackhistory, or you can go to, if you have Amazon Prime, you can give me a Twitch Prime subscription, which gives me some money and costs no extra to you. It's just baked into your Amazon Prime membership. So if you don't use it, basically, Amazon gets to keep your money. So, do that. Furthermore, if you have any subscriptions, bits, if you have money burning a hole in your pocket and you think that I deserve to have it, I will appreciate it greatly because, things like super chats, bits, Twitch subscriptions, Twitch subscriptions are all welcome and appreciated. But of course, don't spend money that you feel bad about spending. That's my rule of thumb. If you want to see my latest video, it's called "Are We on the Brink of Mass Starvation?" It came out about a week ago, and it is doing slightly less than okay. And my next video is on CyberSyn, which I am sort of working on right now. I hope to be, with any luck, it'll be finished by sometime next week. That's my hope. If you have some questions for future streams, I'm going to put a link in the chat that you can fill in to get some, to answer questions. I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to get to them tonight. We have a lot of questions, but we'll see what happens. And, of course, I hang on to all questions for about a month. So if you don't hear your question tonight, just kind of hang around. It'll eventually come around. Unless you ask like a lot of questions, it's very likely you're going to get your question answered. And if you ask a lot, you just lower the chance that you'll have all of them answered, basically. And last but not least, of course, if there's anybody who it's their first time watching a Step Back stream, please make yourself known in the chat because, this is a wonderful community that is really cool. So please, let's make yourself known, say hello, and everybody be nice and welcoming. Ooh, yawning again. Man, I am getting very old because I can't seem to be able to have high energy at 7 o'clock. So we'll see. It's because I've been waking up at like 6:30 and then going to the gym at like 7 o'clock. So I'm thoroughly like defeated by the end of the day. Can't stop thinking about the Sand Wars movie, but I kind of don't want to read the books. Help. Well, there is the miniseries, Dune, the 2000 Dune miniseries. That gets you through the first 3 books at least. But other than that, you got to read the Worm books at some point. So yeah. So what else should we talk about? What's going on? I got some news to talk about, but is there something that's particularly pressing going on in chat? I see Laura's here. Laura hasn't been here in a bit. That's nice to see you showing up. I'm glad, because I know you got a really crazy work schedule, so glad that you made it. Elections are today in the U.S. Yeah, what kind of elections are they happen? I think there's like a mayoral election for New York City and some other like runoffs that I don't know. You don't work anywhere, but I do volunteer from time to time. Health issues. Oh, that's unfortunate. At least you're volunteering. That's good. Gives you something to do. Virginia governor elections. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Well, we'll see where that goes. I haven't been following the electoral races this year that closely, honestly. Because we had a Canadian election that kind of dominated the energy here. Just like I probably won't start really thinking about the American midterms until after the Ontario election, which will probably be like next spring or summer. So, you know, I can only elections. I'm noticing there's this very strange like interest in elections with like young people. Like really obsessed with like the numbers and all that kind of stuff when like, oh man, that shit is like, I don't know. Elections aren't, they're important, but man, the minutia of them just like is rough. Ontario election would be a big one, I think. Yeah, we have to see what happens because the Liberals, are they going to bounce back? Doug Ford, is he going to get reelected? Is he going to get a minority government? Is the NDP going to form government for the first time since like I was a baby? We'll see. It's possible that the Lincoln Project messed things up for the Dems in Virginia. It's Quelle surprise. Oh, man. It would be nice if, what's it called? It would be nice if Doug Ford could be deposed from power. He's not exactly popular here right now. His handling of COVID was, I mean, better than some places, but there was pretty low bar. This is the first stream I've seen, but this isn't the first stream I've seen, but it's the first one I didn't miss most of. Well, there you go. You can go for it. 538 is a high potency minutia dealer. Yeah, for real. But I know a lot of people who like really follow, like find like the polls and like the maps and the graphs and all that kind of stuff really interesting. And I think that it's a way. That's not politics. That's a distraction from politics. Politics is done in the streets, for the most part. This is just what's it called? Having a slight say in what the what color branding the oppressors will have. Anyways, that's just me being seditious. Fairly early in the stream. Oh my god, I really gotta stop yawning. I can't stop. I'm addicted to yawning. I don't know why. But we've got some news to cover. So, I don't know what... one of the things that's kind of dominated, or that hasn't dominated the news in the last week, but probably should have, is that Sudan had like a military coup. And I don't know what's going on, so I was thinking, what if we looked at the Wikipedia article and saw what was going on, so we can kind of get a clue as to what's happening over in Sudan. That could be cool. I'm interested to see what's going on, because it has been a sort of evolving news story that because of, because it's a country in Africa and because our media is so American-centric, we probably didn't see what was going on. So, anyways, let's get that going. All right. Check out the living wage numbers just released in Alberta. No. No, I have not. So let's see what's going on. Sudanese military led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan took control of the government in a military coup. At least 5 government senior figures have been detained. Civilian Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok refused to declare support for the coup on the 25th of October and called for popular resistance. He's been moved to house arrest. Internet outages reported. The same day, the Sovereignty Council was dissolved, a state of emergency was put in place, and the majority of the Hamdok cabinet and a number of pro-government supporters were arrested. Well, that definitely sounds like a coup. Some civilian groups, including the Sudanese Professional Association and Forces for Freedom and Change, called for civil disobedience and refusal to cooperate with coup organizers. Okay. So the thing is, like, it's a military coup. I'm not the biggest fan. But also, usually in these kinds of situations, professional associations are usually on the side of the military coup, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyways, protests took place on the 25th and 26th of October against the coup, and at least 10 civilians were reported as being killed and over 140 injured by the military during the first day of protests. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Information. Okay, let's just go with the background. This is the more important part. So in 2019, there was a coup. Okay. President Omar al-Bashir, who ruled the country since the 89 coup, was overthrown in a military coup in 2019 after weeks of mass protests with the Transitional Military Council taking over. Protests continued for some months. The Khartoum massacre took place in June. The protesters, represented by the Forces of Freedom and Change, agreed to a power-sharing deal with the military, creating a sovereignty council in 2019. Okay. So this is like an unfolding situation. Sovereignty Council was led by a military figure for 21 months, followed by a civilian leader for 18 months. The handover was planned to take place in November 2021. In September 2021, a coup attempt was thwarted by the government. According to the Minister of Information, the perpetrators were remnants of the former regime who tried to control the state broadcaster buildings and military central command. Okay. Well, this doesn't give me a whole lot of like what's going on, just that this is like a coup against a coup that happened earlier. Well, nuts. Sudan overthrew its dictator and the military is now trying to stage a counter-revolution. There you go. That's what I was looking for. That makes much more sense. Okay. Well, thank you for indulging my curiosity here as I try to figure out the fuck's going on in Sudan, because news doesn't seem to want to cover it. Isn't that fun? Alright. So next we got here is that there was a planned bombing from a far-right conspiracy theorist in France who planned to blow up COVID-19 vaccination centers, a Masonic lodge, journalists, prominent figures in parliament. Former soldiers have been hired to train recruits for the plot. So France is having a normal one, just showing that, like, you know, we're not out of the like COVID denial fueled insanity, and now it's just like, you know, becoming straight up terrorism. Isn't this fun? Isn't this a fun timeline we live in, where now we got somebody who's it's gonna be great for the vaccination effort that we're gonna have far-right terrorists plotting to bomb vaccination centers. That's fucking great. Thanks, Remy. Thank you so much. This is great. I love this. This is great. Chat freeze? Or is everyone just really chill? I need to have like more like, you know, thing. Did I see the QAnon rally in Texas today? I haven't. I mean, I've seen pictures of it. So I guess QAnon people gathered in Texas because there's some sort of prophecy or something that at noon today, JFK Jr. was going to show up at the spot where Kennedy was assassinated. And I guess like a whole lot of QAnon people queued up to hang out. And nothing happened as far as I know. But they basically were, from what I can recall, they were hoping this would happen. They were hoping that, like, JFK Jr., a person who's been dead since 1999, would be there, because they believe that JFK Jr. did not die and that he's been secretly, like, you know, helping the QAnon cause, I guess. But then also there's, like, new people, like, there's, like, all sorts of celebrities that are thought to be dead who are now QAnon supporters in their afterlife who are going to show up at this thing. So, yeah. And it's going to... And now that they're all disappointed, I imagine it's going to result in nobody actually abandoning their conspiracy theories and more just doubling down. As we've learned that their conspiracy theories not being proven true, or their predictions not coming to pass, is definitely not evidence enough to make them stop, so that's life. Love this for us. I love the way that the world's going. We got this guy bombing vaccination centers, and we've got or threatening to bomb vaccination centers, and we've got a bunch of QAnon people trying to wait for a dead Kennedy, literally. We're doing great, guys. Everything is going very well. I hope you guys know. The internet was a mistake, for real. The next story we got here is that Facebook... You guys, everyone saw this. This was memed to hell and back. That Facebook renamed itself to Meta. And now Facebook's still going to be called Facebook. But now they're going to be building on, I guess, metaverse shit. So the idea is that that Facebook is really trying to get in on this virtual reality thing and want to basically make a metaverse, like a thing like a Shadowrun or Ready Player One or whatever, where we would all live in virtual reality, or we would spend a lot of time on the internet in a virtual reality space, like, you know, Second Life or any other MMORPG or anything like that. Interesting, bold plan. Kind of overvalues how popular and how, you know, penetrating virtual reality technology is. And also assumes that people have way more space, because you need a lot more floor space, and a lot of people can comfortably put together to do, like, really decent virtual reality stuff. So, I don't know what they're trying to do with this kind of stuff, but Jesus Christ. But this is the fun part that freaking Zuck's doing. Facebook is literally turning into the Matrix. It's funny because when I was, like, a few years ago, like maybe back in like 2018, I think it was 2018, early 2018. I was in a tabletop role-playing campaign called of the Sprawl, which is a sort of like powered by the apocalypse cyberpunk game. And as part of the sort of world creation at the beginning of the game, we all had to make these sort of like mega corporations that run society. And I decided that one of the ones that we would introduce would be a social media company that is just like ridiculously rich off of selling everybody's information. It was a pretty fun campaign. There's only 3 of us playing, and I was the only one who basically had any combat skills. And they weren't even that good combat skills. And so I was the person who did all of the action sequences, because my character was the fucking cyborg or whatever. When I had my partners were a person who's really good at driving cars, and a person who is a social media influencer / protester or activist or whatever. And that's what we did to take down the the powers to be. It's very fun. And my character was she was a character who has had a lot of cybernetics. A lot of it was kind of like a biohacker type character. She was inspired by Left Anonym, who I should show sometime because she's like a really hardcore biohacker who has done some pretty wild shit to herself. I made it I made a character that was sort of interested in jailbreaking cybernetic pieces and stuff like that. It's her whole thing was that she ran a store where she did jailbreaking on cybernetics and stuff like that. And then got an undercover gig, freaking modding cybernetics for to rig sports matches and stuff like that. It's pretty wild. I had a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't on the meta thing. I don't know where this shit's going, man. But it seems like a bunch of rich Silicon Valley people. Because I think Microsoft came out with something kind of in the same vein today, and it's just I don't know where this is gonna go because I don't think that virtual reality is going to have the staying power they think it is in this kind of ubiquitous use that's not just a specific genre of entertainment kind of media, but this whole metaverse idea. I don't think it's going to happen, at least not now, unless some there's a lot of VR technologies that need to be improved for that to actually work. But Zuck doesn't seem to care, and I would love it if this is the thing that makes Facebook go bankrupt, or the thing that makes Microsoft lose a shit ton of money, because whatever, right? Shows that also you don't have to really have smart business acumen to you just have to have a lot of money in order to get all of your stupid ideas funded. So yet again, here we are. We're going to talk about Greta Thunberg denouncing politicians and the economy and basically turning into a green anarchist. I did not know. I did not know she turned into a green anarchist. I do know that she basically said at the climate change summit that these politicians fucking suck and they don't. They always just blow hot air or blow smoke up your ass and do nothing, and that basically her faith in fixing things through through politicians is basically gone. And I don't know, maybe she's gonna turn man, what's it called? Do we have does Comrade Greta freaking lead the revolution? Maybe, I don't know, that'd be fun. That's about the most thing I know about Greta, but Greta is shoved in our faces 24/7 by the corporate media. How is she a revolutionary? Well, Nick Fuentes, if that is your real name. Isn't Nick Fuentes a Nazi of some kind? Anyways. She's what's it called? She was the kind of climate change version of Malala Yousafzai, who is what's it called? She was trotted out in front of everybody and she got a whole lot of attention, but then she quickly found out that it's because a lot of politicians wanted to be seen next to her as she called them out on taking no action on climate change while not doing anything. And then it seems maybe in the last few years she's really started to figure that out, and now she's fucking pissed. Because she doesn't get as much attention anymore because she's no longer a kid. She's an adult now. And their whole thing was, look at this cute kid who's dealing with the thing. So I don't know what her deal is right now, but it seems that she's fucking pissed. And I would, what's it called? If there was any issue that we should be fucking revolutioning about, it's fucking climate change. Like, we're literally watching the most powerful people in the world, like these, like, you know, handful of people who have all of the power to change things, do literally nothing as our planet fucking boils alive and our species fucking dies. And, like, if there was anything that would cause revolution, you'd think it would be that. You'd think, right? Oh man, Nick Fuentes. You're starting to sound like the real Nick Fuentes. Are you just the fucking, like, what's it called? The Holocaust denier guy? You just say, like, why would you watch my stuff? You have, like, your own audience of, like, you know, weird fascists on the internet. Why are you watching my stuff? But you can't be the real Nick Fuentes. That would be weird. The powerful people are the ones pushing climate fear. Okay. Try and debate the idea. Okay, I just want to know if you're the actual Nazi Nick Fuentes. I just want to know if that is you. Are you the Holocaust denier guy from the internet? Okay. Do you just happen to be named Nick Fuentes, or are you just a fan? But I'm not going to really debate about whether or not climate change is real, because climate change, like, what's it called? That is such a fucking joke of a thing to say. Like, in this day and age, we are way past that conversation. And I'm not saying it isn't real. Okay. Hey, thank you for the $5 super chat, James. There was a guy named Cavernacle that totally stole your format. To me, you're my favorite progressive on YouTube. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna have to check out this Cavernacle guy, because I don't know if I have a format except just kind of like rambling about how much capitalism sucks on the internet. I'm saying climate fear and all the solutions that go along with it are being pushed by the most powerful and well-funded groups on the earth. I mean, there are definitely some people who acknowledge that it's a fucking global crisis, and yeah, there's solution, and they're offering these absolute non-solutions to get through it. This is true. This is very true. And that's why we're not making any progress on, like, a whole lot of things. But to then go to then take that and then go, oh, it's not a real what's it called? It's not a real problem, okay? Look up the economic growth farm and the Great Reset. Oh my God, you might actually be Nick Fuentes. That's some fucking what's it called? You're like tracking into like random right-wing like fucking Nazi conspiracy theories. All right, let's get you the fuck out of here. I don't have room for fascists in my stream. Fucking bye. Okay. Be really funny if that was the real Nick Fuentes. Like, I would feel special. I would feel special if that was a real Nick Fuentes. Let me actually check. I think, like, what's it called? We'll find out if it's the real Nick Fuentes, because a bunch of Nazis will show up. CPUSA denounced American patriotic socialism. Good. Patriotism is fucking awful, and nobody should ever, never follow along with that. No. There was a time, not too long ago, when I was... This is, like, before I started Step Back. I got in Twitter. I didn't get in Twitter jail, but I got a harassment campaign back in 2014, about a year before I started Step Back, because I pissed off Michelle Malkin. Because I was doing my research. I was doing my research for my dissertation, or my what's it called? My master's thesis on Islamophobia. And I wrote a whole section about Michelle Malkin, specifically, like, trying to stoke up violence against Muslims. And I think I just tweeted randomly that Michelle Malkin should get hit by a bus, because I didn't know how Twitter worked back then. I wasn't on it very much. And she found that and was like, so much. Basically, I don't know. Like, I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was like so much for the tolerant left type thing, and I was just like, oh fuck, okay, whatever. It was very funny. Funny. If what's it called? If that was actually Nick Fuentes, that would be like the first time the far right has actually paid any attention to the work that I do. I don't know why, but unlike my fellow bread tube secret cabal members, I don't really show up on the radar of the far right at all. Like, they don't know who I am. I don't get response videos made about my content. It's very like under the radar. Do you have any recommendations for Spanish/Portuguese colonization of the New World? Not specifically. And, like, I don't know. I don't have any, like, this is the definite book on that topic. But I would probably... I have... The only book I've read on it I liked a lot, which is a book by Charles C. Mann called 1493. So... Hey, Thomas, thank you for the $2 super chat. Hey, I just wanted to say I really like the content. Well, thank you very much. Nick Fuentes' Groiper group calls Michelle Mummy Malkin. Oh my goodness. That's disturbing. Despite suffering grave false consciousness, right-wingers are so unattractive, so insufferable. I mean, I don't comment on people's attractiveness. Because, I mean, I'm one to talk, right? I literally have, like, dinner stains on my shirt while I'm streaming. But I mean, the evil definitely like any conventional attractiveness that they would have would be very undermined by the evil that seeps out of them. So, yeah. This is a fun, this is a fun song. I got hotter for the more left wing I became, TBH. Well, there you go. See, I'm like, what's it called? I'm currently, I don't know how to talk about this. I'm probably gonna have to prepare a statement before I film the next video. Or maybe not, I don't know. Nobody in the chat has seemed to notice, but I've recently lost a lot of weight. And plan to lose a fuckload more. And I've also been going to the gym a lot, and I'm getting ready for the revolution, so I can be all fucking swole for the swoletariat or whatever the fuck. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm doing it to be healthy. But, yeah. Going left means eating less meat, which makes you healthier and thus more attractive. There you go. I actually haven't eaten meat in like, I barely touch meat anymore. I guess I shouldn't say I don't eat meat, but I've cut down quite a fuck lot, so. Say hi to Jim for me. Jim? I don't know any Jim. Do you feel better, as in high levels of energy and stuff? A little bit. I feel lighter. I feel like it's easier to move around, and I like my natural walking speed has picked up and stuff like that. You're down 98. Holy shit, Craig. 98? That's impressive. I'm like rounding about 45 at this point, but yeah, it's been good. Too much grease and meat. I agree. I also I kind of keep into a sort of doctor recommended Mediterranean diet, the ones the doctors always want, which is that means I basically just eat chicken and tuna at this point. So, yeah. I haven't eaten meat other than fish in over 5 years and been exclusively vegetarian for a couple of years. Yeah, there you go. That's good stuff. It's prepared foods that put the weight on. It's true. Although I will say one of the hard things about me being vegetarian is that if I ever became a vegetarian, is that I have a sensitivity to tofu. When I eat tofu, my stomach dislikes me. Is what the thing is, which sucks because I love tofu. I'd eat that shit, every day if I could. But every time I eat it, my stomach is like, "Oh, that wasn't good. I don't like that." And I'm like, "Oh man." But you were so good going down. Probably should just get into the habit of eating like tempeh or something. I don't know. But at the moment, like, yeah, my meat consumption is limited to, occasionally I'm eating like some random keto recipes I come across which have a lot of meat in them, but for the most part I'm just kind of like having some chicken, having some tuna, getting some chicken on the weekends, that kind of thing. Sensitive/allergic to soy, pea protein, and almonds. Oh, fuck, Hakate. That is... Yeah, man. You would have a very hard time being a vegan. I'm sure you could do it, but that's like all the things. I would eat a lot more tuna if my wife did not hate it, is the thing, though. Because I really like tuna. Tuna is basically like my favorite, like probably up there, like one of my favorite things. And but my wife like hates it, like to the point where like she can't even like look at it. So I have to like eat it only when I'm on my own. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but there's been a global pandemic lately, and it means that I don't really eat a lot of meals by myself anymore. So yeah. So that means that, if I've kind of more or less cut out red meat from my diet, which means that like we're basically eating chicken and turkey. Does she complain about tuna breath though? No. But I also like brush my teeth after every meal, kind of like meticulously, so it's usually not a problem. Do we have some more stories? So we got over this like weird Facebook, like, seeing into the gaping maw of our dystopia story. The FDA authorized Pfizer vaccines for children between the ages of 5 and 11. That's good news. That's very good news. As someone who's having a kid soon, I'm glad that this is getting moved forward. What about pork? I haven't had it in a little while, but I will eat lean pork. So if we do get pork, I'll cut the fat off. But yes, I can eat pork. And obviously, like, I wouldn't eat, like, processed pork like bacon or sausage or something like that. Sometimes I had some very favorite things before I gave up red meat, like I really like pepperettes, and I'm okay with bacon, but I like sausage and stuff like that. And so I've replaced all of those with their turkey varieties, and that seems to be okay, although it's still sodium-y, so I'm trying to keep that over top as well, but yeah. Never been able to eat meat because of diverticulitis. Flare-ups. I was a kid who could only eat the vegetables. Oh my. That's intense. Peanuts are legumes. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird that peanuts are more closely related to, like, lentils than they are, like, walnuts or something like that. When will there be a vaccine made from the actual virus that has been killed? I think there was one. I think that it was like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine or something like that. That was like a traditional vaccine or something like that. I think. I do like myself some peanuts though. Right now, I'm really digging my breakfast. So like my breakfast right now, You guys are gonna laugh at me about this, but when I did eat meat, I always thought bacon was overrated. It is. It's like, it smells better than it tastes, is the thing about bacon. That's the main thing about bacon mostly. Is that, yeah. But yeah, like the only, like, on the like sausage bacon thing, I don't really like, I don't know, I never really was like the hugest fan of bacon before, but if I will make it, it'll be with turkey, and if I have sausage, it'll probably be like, you know, turkey kielbasa or something like that, and turkey pepperettes, which I still have a lot of, because I am a sad, pathetic man. Anyways, as somebody who's having a kid soon, I'm very happy that the Pfizer vaccine is going to be, I mean, this is the United States, so it's not, you know, quite right, but it does mean that, you know, we're in the direction of moving the vaccines to younger ages. Hoping that, you know, sometime next year at least, that it'll be approved for all ages, and then, you know, we can get our son vaccinated, and then we can, you know, because like the mask mandates are starting to drop here in Ontario in March, so hopefully things will like kind of be back to normal-ish by then. What's a pepperette? Pepperette's like I don't even know what they call it in America. I think it's like a pepperoni stick, maybe. That's the closest thing I can think of. I think that's like what they call it in America. I honestly don't know. Mini pepperoni, yeah. My like my breakfast every day is, I'm not shitting you, Soylent and coffee, and at this day some sugar-free pumpkin spice syrup, like the kind you would get for a like coffee shop. And those three mixed together, it's pretty good. I know like Soylent's like some stupid Silicon Valley bro shit, but it's, I don't know, it's been very useful for my life. Manda saludos pa Chile. Hey, thank you, Mikael. My next video is about Chile, so I hope I think you'll like it. My next video is about Allende and Project Cybersyn, or I think in Chile it's called Cinco. All right. What do we got next? Last-ditch talks are being held between British and French authorities as local authorities in the ports of Calais and Boulogne warn of a, quote, disaster if the French government goes ahead with its plan to clog up the English Channel and disrupt the trade and sailing of British vessels in French ports. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says that the UK should consider formal actions under trade agreements. Oh, man. 100 Years War 2. Come on. Hey, Meow Nyan, thank you for the $6.99 Canadian dollar super chat. What is a local national chain you wish never died? Eaton's, Army and Navy, Woolco, Zellers? Ooh. Licks. It was a burger chain that I very much liked as a kid. That went out of business. I think it's only in Ontario. It was only in Ontario, but holy shit, was that place good, and I miss it a lot. Okay. And also, Praise the Sun, thank you for the $5 super chat. Would I ever do a video on corporate media's development of propaganda to subvert democracy, e.g. Ed Bernays and Lewis Powell memo. I do have some video ideas already planned on that. I have one video idea that would be on manufacturing consent and Bernie Sanders during the primaries. I want to do sort of like a retrospective on the way that the media undermined democracy in the Democratic primaries. The other one that I want to do is talk a little bit about not the American propaganda effort, but the current propaganda effort of Vladimir Putin. There's sort of like this guy who is like, I can't remember his name right now, but he's been like this architect of the sort of propaganda campaign that has kept Putin so popular for so many years. And so, yeah, it's a thing that I'd be interested in doing. And yeah, I imagine that some stuff on like, media manipulation and stuff like that would be pretty useful. Licks is still around that one stop off highway near Parry Sound. Ooh. I mean, I live in London. It's pretty far from Parry Sound. I'm going to send you some audiobooks from Chomsky after this. Ooh, thank you. I do love me some Chomsky. CBD did this small documentary on Burger Baron out in the West. Alrighty. I heard about that. I don't know what the deal was with that, but I heard about it. You got an email to send you some ideas? For video topics, I typically don't really accept like idea submissions just because I get so many. I've already got way more than I know what to do with, and yeah, so it's not. I have plenty right now. I appreciate your effort. I appreciate your wanting various things, but for the most part, there's a lot of things. Like when people want me to do a topic for a video, they either already know about it themselves and they want attention put upon it, or I mean that's usually what it is. And then like if that's the case, you should make your own video. I'll promote it. Putin seems to be declining in popularity. He had to cheat significantly in the last election to keep the Communist Party from getting significantly stronger. Yeah, I did hear that. The propaganda machine though for Putin in the like Putin has this like guy who's like apparently like kind of like a genius, who has like, let me see. Putin propaganda man. I'm trying to think his 40. Oh yeah, here we go. I found it. His name is Vladislav Surkov, and he's like he's a very big person in like Eastern European like propaganda politics, and I really want to learn more about him. It seems like he's a very smart man. And I don't know much about him, about what's going on with him, but he's had a lot of influence over things. Is Mr. Beat going to interview me? I have no idea. I interviewed him once, but who knows? We are friends, but he hasn't asked me. So what you're saying is I gotta make my own video about how land back is good and not an ethno-state, and yes, I do in fact count by native standards pre-Columbia. Dang it. Yeah, I mean, I probably, a land back video is probably something I should make. That is true. I did my video on the residential schools, but a land back video might be useful to make. Although I do think that it's better that there are people who have, I'm not the kind of person who should be making the explainer about land back. I feel like maybe an indigenous creator should be making something, and then I can give it attention. As the U.S. is giving more support to Taiwan, do you think this will spark a major crisis with China? Will the CCP pull Cuba into its sphere of influence? This will be a thing that sparks Cold War II. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. That sounds... I don't know if Cuba's kind of tamping down its radicalism. I don't know if it wants to go in the direction of like, you know, making even more enemies of the United States. Lance does make content on Land Back being good. Yep, and he's better at it than I am. I'm an Americanist. I know everything about American culture and American history, so I should probably, you know, stay in my lane and focus on the things that I know about. Is that the psychotic pro-Eurasian agitprop propagandist? Maybe, I don't know. It's the Cavernacle, anyway. John Tron apologized. He's changed. When should we forgive YouTubers? I don't know how somebody said that I was that this guy ripped me off. His content seems much more into like right-wing grifter drama and that kind of stuff, and that's very much not the kind of stuff I do. I'm not a response video guy to like the weird rogues gallery of right-wing grifters that left-wing posters seem to be very you know, very obsessed with talking and thinking about everything that they say and do, and letting them control the conversation. An Irish YouTuber who makes left-wing content used to be a gaming journalist. Well, shit. Cool. Like, the only reason I know Nick Fuentes is because freaking Thoughts and I made a video about him, I think. And also, he's not just a YouTuber. He's not just like a weird right-wing grifter. He's like a guy who is like an actual fascist. Like, he's like what's it called? I do follow people who are part of like anti-terrorism groups and stuff like that, or you know, researchers of the far right, and he shows up in that a lot. Check out Jaguar Bird on YT. Who's Jaguar Bird? Jaguar Bird. Okay. Let's see what these are. That's what this channel's about. I focus on Indigenous elders, chiefs, tribes, First Nations, Buddhists, and holy people, Indigenous concerns and historical events, and more. Okay, that's cool. I'll just subscribe to that. Who researches the far right? Any recommendations? Yeah. I mean, the one that I would always push is Robert Evans. Robert Evans is a terrorism researcher who studies the far right, and he's like, you know, big enough that friggin' weird super communists give him shit because he, like, you know, gives like lectures to terrorism researchers who work for like the police and stuff. He's good. Talia Levine, which is I'm trying to remember her. I think she has a Twitter handle that's like that chick from Kiev or something like that. Talia, come on. Talia Levin, yeah, her Twitter handle is at chick underscore underscore Kiev, and she wrote a book called Culture Warlords that is I've been told is very good, and I plan on reading it at some point. And also collects swords, so she's pretty cool. I'll put the name in the chat. And her name. The other far right researcher that I like to follow is there's a podcast called I Don't Speak German, which is pretty good. Like, kind of looking at the far right and that kind of stuff. And it's done by researcher Daniel Harper. So. That's that. Daniel Harper's pretty like he meticulously collects and saves like huge archives of far right content. And Talia Levin fucking rules. That's like Talia Levin is a person who I'm like, this is a senpai I wish to notice me, because like she's very cool and her work is very good. And I would like to talk about Culture Warlords. I need to read Culture Warlords is the most important thing, I think, out of that. Because I'm not a far-right researcher, but what's the next story we got here? French President Emmanuel Macron announces that his government will postpone the imposition of tighter controls on British imports and initially scheduled for Tuesday at midnight as negotiations between France, the UK, and the European Commission over the rights of French fishermen to fish in the Jersey's territorial waters continue. Fun. Alrighty. The last thing I got here for news is that last week, freaking Star Trek Prodigy came out. And oh my god, maybe I should talk about this with Mia next week. But man, Star Trek Prodigy, the Nickelodeon kid show of Star Trek, literally was one of the. It had to be like one of the most charming podcasts, or one of the most charming like Star Treks I've ever seen. Like, so good. Star Trek is always kind of, rough on getting started. And that show, you knew what the plot was and you liked the characters like almost instantly. It was so perfect. So that I'm happy about. It also has Jason Mantzoukas, who does a lot of cartoon voice acting work, and his voice is so iconic and very fun to listen to. And it's just fun because, it's just like, oh, it's Derek. Derek? It's a reference to The Good Place. Anyone doesn't know? Is Kim still? I don't think Harry Kim is in it, sadly. There might I've heard that Robert Beltran might be in it, so there might be some Chakotay, but Yeah. Love me some Jason Mantzoukas though. Now that I've said that, he's probably done something horrible. I don't know who he is. He could be a terrible person for all I know. So that's the trick. Never like any celebrities, because you don't know who they are, and money tends to make you evil. So Tom Paris was on Lower Decks. Yes, he was. That was pretty fun. And Robert Duncan McNeil was also on it. The other thing, too, and I'm planning on listening to this at some point, is that there's also the Delta Flyers podcast. If anyone doesn't know, I like that a lot, or I want to listen to it pretty bad. But the Delta Flyers podcast is a Star Trek Voyager rewatch podcast with Garrett Wang and Robert Duncan McNeil, which means that it's with friggin' Kim and Tom Paris, the two bros from the show, doing a watch through of Voyager. So maybe that'll be fun. I'm very bad at keeping up with podcasts. I have way too many podcasts, and I just kind of listen to a handful here and there. So I'm not. There's very. I think like there's like maybe one or two podcasts that I like listen to every episode as soon as it comes out. Found the Orville more than the actual. You enjoy the Orville more than the actual new Star Trek. That's interesting. I like the Orville. I also like a lot of the new Alex Kurtzman Star Trek stuff. So, you know, I'll take both of them honestly. Yeah. Lower Decks is also very charming. I like Lower Decks quite a bit as well. Yeah. I don't know. New Star Trek's getting good. It's not like Rick Berman's, but, it is what it is. I think it's really fun. I think if I remember correctly, the Orville is coming back next year, isn't it? Or is it 2023? I know that season 3 of the Orville is I can't wait to see what I want to see what the Orville's going to be like next year. I could use some more of that show in my life, so that'd be great. Especially because what's his name was in it, and he recently died. And I wonder what they're going to do with him, because I think I'm sure he's done all of the Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald died recently, and he played the freaking Yondu or something like that, or I can't remember what he called himself, but what his character was named. But yeah, he was good. If I remember correctly, too, this kind of really just like branching off of like multiple tangents here. But if I remember correctly, there's also a Galaxy Quest TV show that's in development, which like. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do because, like, Tim Allen sucks and Alan Rickman's dead. But if Galaxy Quest would be a fucking legit show. Is there still TV? Yeah, it seems like the drought that was caused by COVID is starting to let up, and now we're starting to get new TV, which is nice, because there was a long time there where we just had no new TV. All right, now we should probably use some questions. I got some questions to get through. Jenny asks, do the cats realize there is a baby coming yet? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think either of these cats have ever seen a baby before. But I do know that Kelly sent me a picture the other day that we've gotten a stroller already for the baby. And I guess Phoebe jumped into the stroller and Kelly took a picture of it. So that's fun. And, I've moved offices, so now there's an empty room that's going to be his bedroom. So they probably know something's going on, but I don't imagine that I don't know how they're going to handle there being a baby, because Phoebe is very insistent on getting attention. And if she doesn't get attention, she tends to misbehave. So that oh, look at the best 4-star podcaster. Oh, thank you, Stealth Intel. Hello, thank you. Why has nothing come of Rolling Stone reporting about collusion between U.S. senators and January 6th protesters? Oh, man, I don't know. Or January 6th rioters. What are the cats' names? Phoebe and Romeo. But yeah, when the baby gets here in a few months, 2 months now actually. Wow, that's wild to say. Almost exactly 2 months at this point. Um, that at some point soon, the cats who don't like getting attention thing are going to be like, whatever. Do I think V inadvertently contributed inadvertently to David Icke's reptilian alien conspiracy theory, or did Icke just rip it off wholesale and ran with it? I don't know where David Icke got his conspiracy theories from, but there are some people who are saying that it's just like, thinly veiled anti-Semitism. But I don't know what V is specifically. Is that like, I think it was like maybe like, I think I've heard maybe about this, that it was like a science fiction show in the 70s or something like that, that David Icke might have ripped off from, which, I mean, he could have done. That makes sense. In 2 months late, the baby will be leaving home, or so it seems. Oh boy. Yeah, blink of an eye. Enjoy the time when they're little. I know that's the advice I've been given is to really just, enjoy every moment that he is a little wee baby, because he won't be one for very long. V was 83 to 84. Yeah, I did hear that that David Icke might have based it off of the TV show from the 80s or something like that. Next we got a question from Dazia. Who do you think will run for president in 2024 in the case Biden and Trump don't run? Say your top 3 to 5 candidates in both the Democratic and Republican Party. Sure. Democratic Party, if Biden says he's not running, Kamala Harris will definitely run. Pete Buttigieg will definitely run. It's those two stick out the most as people. Cory Booker will probably run again as well. We're probably going to see those three just forever. The other one that Elizabeth Warren, maybe. She had a pretty rough time in the last primary, and also has has no will. And I can imagine that if Warren ran again, that there would be hell, because Bernie cares about the cause, not about people. So he would definitely be like her hype man. And it would make so many parts of the internet mad because she betrayed him so utterly and thoroughly. So there's that. But yeah, those people come to mind. The other one is, someone just said Danarchist, who said, the other one is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because if it looks like there's not, one of the things that's going to come up in the Democratic primaries next time, either 2024 or 2028 or whatever, is that the Democrats are not really going to have a progressive leader. Bernie Sanders, because the left was so thoroughly destroyed, in the mid-century, there are very few socialists who are of the baby boomer or Gen X generations. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is she's probably the most high-profile politician who is who is actually a millennial. I think she's a year younger than me or something like that. And she would just qualify for the minimum age to be president next in 2024. So, will she do it? I don't know. But there are if there is a serious lack of a progressive candidate in the next Democratic primaries, she might try to swoop in to take it. But I imagine that I imagine that she will not this time, because she tends to buck. The problem with AOC is that she tends to buckle to insider party pressure pretty easily, which makes me think that she wouldn't do it. But if she did run, that she would, I'd probably help her campaign. She's not perfect, but few people are, and would definitely be the what's it called? There's the list of left-wing potential presidential candidates is very thin. So, take it. Who else? And also maybe like outside chances that Julian Castro will probably run again. He didn't do super great, but I have a feeling that he has ambitions to try again. The Republicans, if Trump doesn't run, who I think would actually be setting themselves up to do something. I mean, there's the perennials. I think that you haven't seen the last of Marco Rubio. You probably haven't any chance for Rashida Tlaib. I don't think that she's interested in running for president. She hasn't shown any interest in having that kind of like national stage thing. Republican side, I think Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz are guaranteed to run again. It's possible that like DeSantis might do it. There's some other guy too that I'm trying to remember the name of that might run. You might see something absolutely buck wild. You might like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, you might see something like, I don't know if she would do it, especially because she might lose next year. But if Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, she might just like, I feel like she would show up and flame out pretty early in the race, but it's a thing that she would definitely think to do. Yeah, I think those are going to be like the major players, because I feel like Marco Rubio didn't flame out. Ted Cruz lasted quite a while. So yeah, Matt Gaetz, that's another person who, well, Matt Gaetz was probably going to, and then he was going to, then he also has had a few things happen to him lately that might make him less, willing to run for president. What about Tulsi Gabbard? Maybe she might run. I don't know. I don't know what kind of base she has anymore. She has like the Glenn Greenwald, what's it called? She has like the Peter Coffin vote, like the sort of like I call myself a socialist but believe in a bunch of right-wing reactionary political opinions people. I don't know what you call those. The dirtbag left. Yang yet again? No, Yang started his own political party. He started like a center-right political party that's called like the Progress Party or something like that. He recently started it, and I imagine that he'll be probably doing something with that. In that field, I'd probably choose Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez if she runs, which, might not be a thing. Save that. The choices are very thin at that point. Elizabeth Warren maybe would be an okay pick. She believes in some basic democratic reforms, which I'll take. And then, yeah, everybody else is just kind of neoliberal shills. I think Julian Castro's got a bit more, like, progressive oomph to his takes, but even then, they're very weakly held positions, it seems. So. Yeah, 2024 is going to be and there's also just the more accurate thing, which everyone says, which is this, like, you usually, like, what's it called? The person who's going to run for president in 2024 is probably somebody who's barely on the radar right now. That's typically how it works. With, like, the last two elections aside, a lot of the people who run for president they try to run people who have very little baggage. So they usually try to get, guys in their 40s or 50s who don't have a lot of baggage, that kind of thing. So the Greens' death will mess up the UK. Oh, this is the Queen. So the Queen's death will mess up the UK, but how does it affect the Commonwealth like Canada? Will their TV be shut down? How much of a pain will it be to replace things like coins? I mean, replacing coins is going to be expensive. That's for sure. Um, but I think there's going to be like specials on the Queen and stuff like that. It's not going to be, I think, as hardcore as the UK, but Canada's definitely going to make way too big of a deal about it. I don't think we're going to like, we're not going to like shut down the TV or anything like that. Man, no. It's going to be a fucking hilarious day when the Queen bites it. Yeah, the thing with the 2024 election is that it's going to be the first presidential election in a little while where I give zero fucks who wins anything, because they're all just going to be neoliberal shills who are going to aid the parties or aid the country's further drift to the right and let people starve and the planet boil while they do nothing, really, from either party. So it'll be much more of a fun election because I'll be way less invested in the outcome. Last time the Queen died, her heirs were cut from the free tail attached to Canada. What? The Daily Mail will be plastered with it. Yeah. Abolish the monarchy. Yes, for sure. That is definitely my take. I hope that the Queen dying will lead to a bunch of, people talking about whether we should actually, while we're changing the money, do we really want to deal with King Charles, and then King William, and then King George? Is that the next? Are those the king? Is that what we want? Do we want 3 more kings? None of them. I don't think. I think like maybe. I mean, people like George because George is like a toddler, but like I don't think people are super crazy about Charles. They're not super crazy about William. Maybe they like William, I guess. Anyways, let's see what the next question we got here is. So Chomsky said unvaccinated people shouldn't be allowed to go in stores or restaurants. The interviewer asked him how we'd get food to them, and Chomsky said, well, that's actually their problem. Is that an unnecessary callous take? Nah, man, at this point, I'm fucking tired of being patient with the anti-vaxxers. There is the class angle, which I guess Chomsky's not looking at for some reason, but for the people who are just like, I refuse to get vaccinated, and if vaccines are available and you refuse to get them because of some stupid shit you read on the internet, I have a hard time being empathetic with you at this point. Wouldn't King Charles III be the last monarch be weirdly fitting given the previous two? Yeah, that's true. I have a feeling because of the history of the previous King Charleses that Charles, if he becomes king, will probably change his name. That's my guess. Because most kings, or most monarchs change their name. Elizabeth was an exception. But most monarchs actually change their name when they're coronated. And I imagine that because of that, Charles will probably change his name. But yeah, on the vaccine thing, like, at this point, like, we really need to stop just, like, like, coddling these people who are just so insistent on being a threat to themselves and others. And I think from that Chomsky interview, if I remember correctly, he's just fucking, like, exhausted, is the thing. Because, yeah, I imagine as somebody in his 90s, he can't really go outside because of the low vaccination rates. Though he is in Massachusetts. Massachusetts has got a pretty high vaccine rate. I don't know. Who knows if Charles will ever actually be king, though. If the Queen isn't dying from this, like, whatever the hell she has now, It's gonna be like she's gonna die like the day after Charles dies, just to spite him, or he'll be king for like a month, just to put a fucking cherry on top of that horrible man's miserable life. All right, let's see what's next here. One of the atheist podcasts I listened to interviewed a guy who wrote and self-published a book called Disproving Christianity. Oh boy, that's got some massive, like, 2008 atheist vibes. While he was a religious studies undergraduate, he claims that he applied to a PhD religious studies program. The head of the department, who was a theologian as well as a religious studies professor, told me she was rejecting him because he's publicly anti-religion. Assuming he's telling the truth, is it wrong to reject someone from a PhD program for that reason? I wanted to ask you two, or you if Mia is still sick, because you're left very, very left while not overly sympathetic to outspoken atheists. I mean, if you, like, the thing is, like, there's a difference between being an atheist and being somebody who wrote a self-published book called Disproving Christianity, which, like, you know, might show that you don't exactly have the curious intellectual study of religion at heart. If it's very obvious that your goal is to just like to just destroy the Christians with facts and logic. So while, like, you know, there's probably like and also when you're applying for a PhD, there are so many applicants and they're looking for any excuse to throw one out, and it's like, this person seems like they would be, that they're, like, this person's project is, and usually it's based on their project, but, yeah, going into religious studies and then being like, I wrote a book that says religion is bad, that says Christianity is disproven, like, I don't know, that seems like a real... The book was a collection of contradictions in the Bible. Of course it was. Of course it was. The fucking Christianity understander has logged on. Oh man, the Bible has contradictions in it. Kel Surprise. It's like fucking 10,000 years. No, it's like 2,000 years old. Like, the fuck you want it to do? Like, I don't know. Like, it's such like, it's not the gotcha you think it is. You know. But it just, like, it does show, like, hey, I have a very specific, like, position on something, and then I'm going into your religious studies department where it's like, it doesn't, like, this, like, the fact that, like, Disproving Christianity as the book, that is not a good sign that this is a person who has, like, who has, like, genuine curiosity and passion for understanding religion as part of their you know, personality. And so there are many other people who aren't assholes who could very easily also get in to that program. Trust me, there are many atheists in religious studies. Just, you know, not all of them wrote a book called Christianity Gets Owned with Facts and Logic. What worries you more, American or Canadian politics? Probably, I mean, American politics, because America has all the nukes and they represent the interests of, like, you know, most powerful military in the world and all that kind of stuff. Canada's got some shitty politics that's definitely going to make our lives more annoying, especially if this new internet law that they're working on goes through. But there's no, like, Canada's capacity to do damage to the world is so much smaller than what America does. And just so that you know, just so you know that I'm not, like, you know, just showing my anti-atheist bigotry or whatever. If somebody also applied to a religious studies program with with a book with the title of, like, Proving Christianity is 100% True, I think they would, like any sort of, like, you know, biblical literalist type book under their name, that they would probably also not be accepted into the religious studies program. what's the new bill Canada's trying to pass? It's like, there's been these laws going around lately that are trying to get online social media platforms to take more responsibility for bad stuff on their content, or bad content on their platforms. And Canada's has like one of the most like over the top draconian ones that will essentially make it impossible to start a new social media website, because the amount of censorship and stuff that they would need to to invest in order to be compliant with Canadian law would be so extensive that, you know, no small company could do it. And at the same time, it's also like planning on putting up like a kind of like Chinese, like a firewall of China type thing to block websites that that the Canadian government doesn't like. It's really bad. Thoughts on American Civil War 2.0? I don't think it's very likely in the kind of situation we're in right now. Like, you know, knock on wood, I don't think it's likely to happen. There's not, like I think that we would need some significant civil society breakdown, which, you know, I think I could see like in the decades to come, but not happening like, you know, next year or anything like that. The person told him you wouldn't fit in here, and he interpreted it as anti-atheist. Well, of course he did. This guy sounds like a giant baby. Any thoughts on the upcoming 30th anniversary of the collapse of the Soviet Union? I mean, it's coming up. I don't really know how to feel about the Soviet Union sometimes. The Soviet Union is such a complicated thing to have feelings about, because it was an inflexible autocratic dictatorship that its choking bureaucracy and cronyism and boss-pleasing culture within the government led to it becoming inflexible and conservative and essentially incapable of adapting to any new situation. On the other hand, you know, they were the one country that really tried to make a go of like being a world superpower that opposed capitalism, and, you know, critical support there. But yeah, there's a lot to chew on with the, you know. Oh, they're making a DMZ movie. I read a little bit of that comic book. I remember it being pretty decent. DMZ is a comic book about it's focused around a journalist in America during a new Second American Civil War, where the front line of the Civil War is the story is that he's going into the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, and it's the island of Manhattan, where one side of the war is on one side of the island, and the other one is on the other. And so it's like, you know, them, or is it like Long Island? I can't remember if it's Long Island or Manhattan that is the DMZ, but either way. A new American Civil War would not have fronts. That is true. It's not a very realistic American Civil War, but it is an interesting one. It's more about, DMZ, if I remember correctly, is more about what, you know, living in a conflict zone is like, except it uses America so that, you know, to show, so that Americans will feel sympathetic about something that they cause around the world, basically. So that's basically that. Like, that's more like, even though that's like the premise of the comic book series, it's more like its focus Like it's more interested in those kind of like what life is like in a war zone type stories, and about survival in those kinds of situations. That's its main like that's what it's mainly interested in. And you know, if the Civil War in it is not super interesting, then you know I don't know. Also, New York would not be a disputed region. I'd be more worried about the Midwest. Listen, it's not. Who cares? It's trying to tell a story. It would mostly be a rural city divide. Yeah, if anything. A lot of the Civil War, an American Civil War would more be like, you know, the state breaking down and there just being a ton of random factions all over the place making various claims to territory and stuff like that. It's not going to be like it's going to be more like, you know, like civil wars going on in most other countries. It's not going to be like the American Civil War or anything like that. All right, what do we got next? The other day they talked about a Kyle Rittenhouse judge on the Lib Law podcast. They made 3 points defending him. Fun! I like that the liberals are defending fucking Kyle Rittenhouse. Let's do this. Let's fucking go. 1, it's relatively normal to rule homicide victims can't be described as victims prior to the pre-jury guilty verdict. Sure, but they were referred to as arsonists and rioters, which they also were not. So, yeah. If you're just going to go for, like, neutral language, that's one thing. But instead, it was, like, trying to, like, literally demonize them. 2, the judge, in fact, only said the defense could describe the victims as rioters/looters if they can offer evidence to the effect. If he can't, he may still... He still rule that they can't describe them that way to the jury. Well, there you go. Earlier on in the trial, Kyle's lawyers asked if they could tell the jury one of the victims was a sex offender, and the judge ruled they couldn't on the grounds that it was irrelevant and prejudicial, i.e. a ruling that doesn't jive with that he's privately on Kyle's side. Does any of that at all abate any fears that you might have the judge is trying to rig it for Kyle? I still think it's gonna. I think he's. I mean, I don't really give a fuck what the judge thinks. The legal system is like, what's it called? The legal system is totally gonna rig it for him. Like, what's like? I don't like. I don't know. I don't. This like random like legalese stuff. I do not give two solid fucks about. Like, why do I care about the minor points of the what's it called? Of what the fucking white supremacist colonial settler colonial state of America, how they think murder should be taken care of? Like, nah. Like what's it called? I think I think they talked about this on a podcast recently, and somebody pointed out like, well, he's a judge. And judges are made up of people who want to be judges, which says a lot about what you need to know about how he's going to rule. Turns out that people who want to decide the fates of other people are kind of psychopaths. But if I remember, Kyle Rittenhouse has some like super lawyer, and I don't even know who the district attorney is for this one. But the name wouldn't even do anything. But I don't know. Kyle Rittenhouse is a rich white kid who murdered black people, so he's going to walk free. It's gonna suck, and it's gonna happen. You should run for stuff. Oh boy, that'd be the day. I feel like the second I run for any sort of office, I'm gonna get like what's it called? Just anything that I've ever said is gonna get brought up, and I'll instantly lose the election. All right, let's see. Should journalists who have no knowledge of legal theory comment on the rulings judges make? A lot of the opening arguments Lib Law podcast content consists of them looking at examples of media claiming the way a judge ruled is either progressive or reactionary, and then making the argument that it's actually the opposite if you understand the legal theory underlying the ruling. Like they show gives the impression a non-lawyer should be reluctant to second guess a judge, and the same reason a non-medical professional should be reluctant to second guess a doctor. Maybe we should have a legal system that's so fucking complicated that you need to hire a fucking like theological class to arbitrate the rules of this shitty system. Like, I don't know. Like, this feels very much like that kind of what's it called? Like kind of the dumb shit you saw on the podcasts that Vox makes, where it's like, you know, just like, this actually isn't racist because it follows the rules and therefore is good. Ha ha ha. And it's like, oh my god, this feels like the kind of argument that someone like Matt Iglesias would make, where just like that kind of like weaselly liberal, just like if it's legal, if it follows the rules, therefore it must be justified. When it's like, okay. This is why like America, like the things like America with its like judges and Supreme Court and stuff like that. It's like got to be one of the least cogent, or no, that's not the word. It's got to be like one of the least democratic parts of how the United States works. The fact like courts and like the way that we cover crime and stuff in general is like just so much rules to for absolutely no benefit to anybody. This is what happens when you try to bring the state to handle things like you know, crime and punishment, when like, you know, it's I don't know, it's too complicated. It's too much. Maybe we shouldn't have a legal system that nobody can understand unless you go to 4 years of rich person school to do it. Maybe that's the tweet. I don't know. I have a feeling that what's it called? I don't want to burn any bridges with the legal guys, so. So a few years ago, the media praised the Supreme Court for ruling in favor of workers, but the precedent it set was really terrible. That's the kind of thing I meant. Oh, okay. I honestly don't care. The Supreme Court should get nothing but scorn and ridicule for existing, is the thing I'm gonna add to that. Buy Bitcoin, lol. Why, there's nothing like a bona fide, genuine, something, what's it called? Bitcoin. I brought Bitcoin to Haverbrook. By God, I put those on the map. Ogdenville, Haverbrook. Your thoughts on Bitcoin and the expansion of property rights? Okay, yeah, I made a video. I made a video on how Bitcoin is literally a Ponzi scheme. It's a scam. I mean, all of capitalism is a scam, but Bitcoin is more of a scam than usual. It has absolutely, you know what? Whatever. Fuck it. We've got a bit of time. Let's go watch the frickin' let's go watch the Gravel Institute video again, because it says it way better than I could. So let's do it. What's it called? Crypto is a scam that literally only succeeds in advancing climate change even more by wasting precious energy. But let's go. I wanna watch the Gravel Institute video again, because it's short and sweet, and it's good. How do you avoid making the law incredibly complicated? It's like that because it has to be applicable in so many situations. Okay. Maybe you don't have a single monolithic organization that needs to be that complicated. Maybe countries are too big of institutions to exist. Maybe we should get rid of most, if not all, countries. Let's do this. And pause the music, because I love this video and I want everybody to watch it, because it's like my video but better and shorter. So let's do this. This pretty much wraps up what I think about Bitcoin.
A businessman in Boston had a realization. Everybody wants to get rich without doing any work. So this businessman came up with a brilliant idea to make a lot of money. And like all good financiers, he promised to make those around him really rich too. The businessman told his investors he was buying discounted coupons in foreign countries and making money reselling them in the US. It was a middleman opportunity that he claimed was totally safe and guaranteed a return. The businessman promised his investors a 50% profit in 45 days or 100% in 90 days. What this businessman was doing was paying the people who got in early with the money for the people who got in later. Those later investors, excited by hearing about a guaranteed high return investment, were left holding the bag. That businessman was named Charles Ponzi. His name has become synonymous with these sorts of schemes. His Ponzi scheme made millions of dollars in just a few months. But such a con can only go on for so long. Eventually you run out of other people's money. And for Ponzi, when that happens, you go to jail. 100 years later, a new bunch of wealthy investors say they too have a brilliant way to make you a lot of money. They promise to make you really, really rich. The best part is, they say, the returns are guaranteed. Anyone can buy with any amount of money. It's called Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a digital token with no physical or government backing that's run by a global decentralized network of computers. These computers keep track of every Bitcoin transaction and can move Bitcoins easily from one user to another. There are a limited number of Bitcoins in the world, 21 million, 19 million of which have already been mined. These mining rigs are large systems of computers which perform complex calculations, expending huge amounts of energy to create new Bitcoins.
Hey, what was
Massive
that sound?
Bitcoin mining farms are set up in places like Siberia and northeastern China, where people take advantage of cheap electricity in massive, wasteful facilities. But how Bitcoin works doesn't really
Questions
matter.
coming dad to? Thank you.
All of the stuff you hear about peer-to-peer technology and the blockchain really only explains how Bitcoin works as a currency. But despite the name, Bitcoin isn't really used much as a currency at all. When people buy Bitcoin, they rarely use it to buy goods and services. They're really buying access to a Ponzi scheme. Only 1.3% of Bitcoin's economic activity is
Oh, only sauce. Thank you for giving out 5 community sub gifts. That's amazing. Thank you. That's so cool. Thank you. You're a scholar. Congratulations on becoming a new dad soon. Aw, thank you. All right, I don't know if the Bitcoin guy's still here. Bitcoin guy, you still here? What was your name again? What was the Bitcoin guy? Sean Pond. Anyways, let's learn more about cryptocurrency.
Just is speculation. People buying it just because they think it will go up. And the more it's used in speculation, the less incentive people have to actually use it as a currency. Why buy something with Bitcoin when you can hold it and make some easy money? That's why the peak of Bitcoin being used to buy things was actually back in 2017, before its price really took off. And a currency should be stable in value, not bounce all over the place the way Bitcoin does. Rises are nice, but Bitcoin also falls a lot. If you want to speculate, that's fine, that's your own business. But you don't want the value of your checking account to gyrate wildly and unpredictably just because Elon Musk has tweeted about it. If you have friends or relatives who are into cryptocurrency, you know that the reason that people are into Bitcoin is because they think it can make them a lot of money. Because Bitcoin is just a digital token without any inherent value, they're not really making an investment. They're engaging in a financial betting game. Anything you invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin just goes into the pocket of the previous holder. There's no real income generating asset behind it. What they're betting on is that other people will bet on it and the value will keep going up. If more people are joining the market, you can make money. You're not a sucker if the person next in line is a sucker too. And as long as you can make it out on time, the next guy is left holding the bag. The good news for these gamblers is that there are a lot of suckers in the world. The bad news is that eventually you run out of suckers. So to keep the scam running as long as they can, the wealthy proponents of Bitcoin say that it's changing the world. They say that Bitcoin is going to replace fiat currencies like the dollar. They say that it's going to undermine cruel dictatorships and greedy banks and help usher in a libertarian utopia of privacy and security. And most importantly, they say what every scam artist has said since the beginning of time. Get in right now and you'll make quick and easy money. Don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And for the last few years, they've actually been right. If you'd spent $100 on buying shares of Apple in January 2016, you'd have about $540 now. If you spent that $100 on Bitcoin, then you'd have made more than $9,000. But that doesn't mean that Bitcoin is working. It means that a lot of people have fallen for the scam. And the more people who buy it, the more the price fluctuates, and the less usable it is as a currency.
Is that Richard Wolff?
The success of Bitcoin as a speculative commodity has made it socially useless. You'd actually have made just as much money buying a parody cryptocurrency called Dogecoin that makes none of the grandiose claims that Bitcoin
Doug
does.
Henwood, the author of the book Wall Street.
In fact, it explicitly started as a joke. Meanwhile, as more and more people speculate on Bitcoin, it consumes more and more electricity and emits more and more carbon. Because of how complex Bitcoin transactions are, they consume an incredible amount of power. One Bitcoin transaction consumes more electricity than the average American household does in a month. Bitcoin as a whole consumes more electricity than entire countries: Venezuela, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, and the Philippines. If Bitcoin ever were to be widely adopted, it would consume many times more energy than is produced in the world today. Bitcoin isn't useful at all, except maybe as a symbol of how capitalism has changed. From something that could once build factories and transcontinental railroads to a system of pure speculation, totally divorced from the real world. Look at this system. Millions of computers emitting huge amounts of carbon, making pointless calculations in order to gain access to a digital token with no actual use, all while the infrastructure crumbles and people go hungry. This is a terrible way to organize a society. But because Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme without any benefit to society, does not mean it's going away. Bitcoin has become a culture, an identity. Amid the vast meaninglessness of a society in decline, a lot of people find value in it. In a world where traditional forms of identity are in decline, family, unions, religion, new ones like cryptocurrencies spring up to take their place. The fact that so many lonely, atomized people find community and meaning in Bitcoin means that for the people at the very top, people with millions or even billions of dollars, there's a ready and willing community of suckers to exploit. You can still make money off crypto.
If you shaved Richard Wolff, he wouldn't look like guy were you out smoking. I think it's the voice. Like, if you were to, like, this guy, they're like voice lookalikes, you know? Like, their voices are very similar.
Currencies. In an age of low wages and mass underemployment, people will always be lured by the promise of getting rich quick. But there will always be somebody left holding the bag. And it could very well be you. In essence, Bitcoin is a gamble. Gambling can be fun at low stakes with friends, but the people trying to sell you Bitcoin aren't your friends. No matter what you tell yourself, you're just gambling. Not that an asset has value, but that the person next in line is more gullible than you. This is Doug Henwood, author of Wall Street, for the Gravel Institute.
Man. Yeah, it's a good video, and anytime somebody asks me about Bitcoin, or what I think about Bitcoin, I should just send them this video because it's basically my take. Because I made a video about Bitcoin this summer, and my take was essentially this video, but longer and less coherent. So, Bitcoin is gender for rich people? Maybe. I think it's more like we live in a world that doesn't really have a lot. Like we've lost a lot of our civil society. We don't really have identities based on our communities or our families or our religions or any of those things anymore. And with this sort of alienation under capitalism, we don't really have much joy that comes out of like doing our work anymore. So by being a crypto bro is sort of like a way to feel like you belong to something. Not to mention, like, investing in crypto is like once you're invested in it, you want to make sure that you are that crypto stays popular because you're participating in a Ponzi scheme. So you got to make sure that there are new suckers buying Bitcoin, or else you're going to not have Bitcoin anymore, or people are going to realize that you're selling fake. You're selling the NFTs of money. Oh, man. It's been a wild night. Also, we were talking about Richard Wolff. Didn't Richard Wolff have something weird go on today? Like, didn't he say that, like, what's it called? That, like, a lot of the people who are, like, the Great Resignation is people quitting over vaccine mandates at their work. And that, like, the what's it called? The insistence on people getting vaccinated is actually like a anti-worker class issue or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck, Richard Wolff? Yeah, man. NFTs are so fucking stupid. I mean, NFTs take the stupidness of all cryptocurrencies and applies it to pictures to show why the blockchain is just absolutely ridiculous. But yeah. It's particularly funny. I find NFTs hilarious, and the people who get into them, it's just like an absolutely hilarious thing. Part of the surge of GME stock was feeling of belonging among the people buying and holding. Yeah, I made a video about GameStop stuff. I think it was like one of the last Tristan Won't Shut Up videos. I think it was the last Tristan Won't Shut Up video. There's a lot of people, or not a lot of people. There's like 3 people who ask me on a semi-regular basis to start making Tristan Won't Shut Up videos again. And I keep saying, don't you just want more Step Back videos? Yes? Wouldn't that make you happier if I just made Step Back videos? That's not what Professor Wolff said in Economic Update there. He said the younger generations are quitting because of workers being more and more exploited. That's the Great Resignation. Well, that's good, because his tweet looked really fucking stupid, so maybe he just mistweeted or something. Yeah, I have some plans to try, when I come back from my parental leave, to kind of increase my rate of content creation by using, like, batches and sort of, like, mini seasons of, like, 4 episodes. I don't know how it's going to go, so I'm not making any promises about that, but that is a thing I'm going to try. Because, doing things like switching to a batch video creation process would require I, have some time off to, like, have a month to, like, really work it out. And I happen to have one coming up a few months where I'm not working, so Tristan won't step back. Oh, man. There you go. That's my sumo wrestling channel. I want some more quick step videos. Wow. That's a unique one. I don't think anyone's particularly said they missed quick step. Bitcoin is a defeatist attempt to separate money from state control. Kind of. Yeah, it is in the sense that, like, money basically exists specifically for the state to impose control over people. If you have money, but without the threat of violence of the state, money basically doesn't exist. You should read Debt the First 5,000 Years. It's like the biggest thing that points out why cryptocurrency makes no sense, because money and controlling people through debt is essentially why money exists. Speaking of sensible long, I'm pleased to be sharing this forum with you all tonight. Aw, thank you, Bobby. Very kind. I feel like Tristan Won't Shut Up is a good evolution of the quick step format. Yeah. The thing about Tristan Won't Shut Up, and this is like, I guess I can answer this again about why I kind of stopped making new Tristan Won't Shut Up videos, was because I realized that a lot of the topics that I wanted to cover on Tristan Won't Shut Up, I could cover on Step Back, because it seems that people don't actually care that much if I... people don't care if I talk about history on Step Back anymore. Like, I can talk about things that are not history and no one seems to care. So I thought, well, you know, I've got 10,000 subscribers about on Tristan Won't Shut Up, and I've got 112,000 subscribers on Step Back. So maybe I should just make content for the 112,000 subscriber channel that is the things that I would make for Tristan Won't Shut Up anyway. And I kind of just like, I'll just go from there. That was my thinking anyway. And so like, if you think about it, like my video about capitalism and loneliness was going to be a Tristan Won't Shut Up video that I made into a Step Back video. And there's some other recent ones that were on the same thing. My cryptocurrency video was essentially a Tristan Won't Shut Up video that I made on Step Back. More videos like the Star Trek one. Yeah, so there was a time where I was thinking that Tristan Won't Shut Up, if I do make it, it'll be like a hobby channel where I can kind of work on videos about like nerd shit, like about Star Trek and like, you know, kind of like stuff that I'm kind of passionate about. But then I realized that like the thing that I'm mostly passionate about is tabletop role-playing games, and I don't know if that is enough to, I don't know if I have that kind of like an audience to really, you know, sell that. So oh, the prepper video was also would have been a, I think it actually started as a Tristan Won't Shut Up video that I moved over to Step Back. Anyways, I think we are kind of coming close to the end of the stream. It's 8:59, so I'm going to find a cool person to raid. Well, Lumiru. Everyone likes Lumiru. Let's do that. You could do what Jesse Gender does with her second channel. I could. It's just that, like, I don't know how much time to dedicate to something like that. Because, like, right now, making Step Back videos and also freelancing and It's Probably Not Aliens, like, all of that pretty much takes up all of my time. And I don't know if I want to spend my time when I'm not making those to then make more videos, if that makes sense. Jesse Gender has a second channel? Yeah, it's called Jesse Gender After Dark. All right, everybody. I'm going to raid Lumiru. They're a very fun creator. So, yeah, let's get that going. But yeah, great stream. I'll be back on Monday. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And yeah, have fun.